Hello, this is Ms. T, and this tutorial is going to walk you through setting up your first Google Classroom as an instructor. Now, I've started at our Google Classroom page. We're all used to this page as a student in our e-learning classroom. This show is going to actually walk you through setting up a classroom as a teacher. Now, you're going to hit this plus button where you joined the class originally, and you're now going to click on Create Class. You'll then be prompted for 3 separate options. Only the first is required, and that is your class name. Now, as you can see on my page, I have a math classroom, a social studies classroom, reading classroom, but you can also have a math classroom section period 1 for if you're departmentalized subject. Again, you can leave blank or you can say math. I'm going to go ahead and leave that as period 1, and it's going to create this classroom. Now, this classroom has a couple of options for you to customize. If you click on Select Theme, you'll get a couple of different pictures that you can add to your drop box at the top, your header. It's called a theme because it will actually change your banner color right here and a couple of other color accents along the page. I'm going to actually change it to the jelly bean just to show you the difference in those two. If you don't like those options, you can upload a photo to change this header image, but that's about all the customization you can have currently on the Google Classroom as far as personalized images. The first thing you're going to want to do when you set up your classroom is to invite your students. So you're going to click on this students icon right here. The easiest way I invite my students is just by displaying this code right here. This code I could usually write on the board or I display in a PowerPoint really big so everyone can see it. You can also write it down in their notebooks. They only need it once and then they won't need it again. Actually, you may even want to disable this code just for stopping anyone else from joining in later, but you definitely can leave it open. You also have the option of inviting students by their email addresses. This is a little time consuming, so I definitely would just keep it as just displaying this code and inviting your students, and they will join the same way by going to classroom.google.com, logging in with their .org email accounts, and joining with the plus button that we joined. This is also where you can change some functionality for all your students, allowing them to comment and only allowing the teacher to post or comment. Right now I'm just going to leave it as students can post and comment, and that is the default option. The next page is the About page, and this is where you could include classroom information. It's definitely optional for these sections. What I love about this About page is that it allows you to include information in your classroom that you want to stay put. Now, if I have a syllabus or if I have a vocabulary page or any links that I want my students to have quick access to without having to scroll, the stream works like a blog, so the most current information is going to go to the top. If you just want your students to be able to get something really quick without scrolling, you should put it on your About page because this will stay put. So that is your About page, and you can upload files, pictures, images to this page. If I head over back to my stream, this is usually where all the magic happens. And this usually starts off with attaching materials to any post. What I would like to do is create maybe a video at the beginning of the year. You can create a video introducing yourself to the classroom, but you definitely don't have to do anything to welcome your class. You can just go ahead and get started, which we are. If you click this plus button, you have 3 different options for posting in the classroom for the first time. You have an announcement, an assignment, and a question. And I'm going to walk you through the difference between all 3 of those, starting with an announcement. An announcement is going to be something that you just want to hand out to your students, but you don't necessarily need anything turned back in. And with an announcement, it doesn't keep track of how many students sees that item. It doesn't give you the option to collect anything from your student. it just displays information to your student. Now this can be a file, it can be pictures, it can be a website link. If you want to get a link out to all your students without having to write down a very long URL, then posting a link as an announcement is a great way to get that out. So an announcement is definitely a great way to get information displayed and shared with your students without having to collect anything back. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to go with the theme of, since we're in a math classroom, we're going to go with the theme of right angles. And so I'm going to share a right angle video with the class. I have my YouTube video right here, and I've already copied a YouTube video that I wanted on right angles. There it goes, and I'm going to add that video to my page. Again, I don't want my students to do anything to it, but watch that video. And so on the students' devices, they will get a little pop-up that says, you just got some mail from Ms. T, and to watch this video. And that is an announcement. Now, if I wanted my students to watch the video and then respond, I want to get something back, I might ask a question, or I might collect an assignment. I'm going to work through the difference of both of these items. If I create a question, which I love questions because it allows for that collaboration between students, I may ask, what is a right angle? And I might say, answer this question in a complete sentence and comment on to classmates. Okay, you have the option of setting a due date. I usually leave the due date off just because I want my students who are absent to have the opportunity to go back and see what we've been doing. The topic is new this summer, and I love the topic because it allows me to organize my classroom. So if I create a topic, I'm going to say this is under our geometry unit. Okay, and I am going to allow my students to reply to each other because I definitely want my students to see what they are posting and to actually give feedback. If I turned this off, they would only be able to see and not give feedback, so I definitely want that on. I leave the students can edit answer off because I definitely don't want my students to look at someone else's and change their answer really quick. But if you do want your students to revise their answers based on feedback, then you would just slide that over. Okay, I'm going to ask this question. With the new updates, you can schedule this or save a draft. If I'm planning over the weekend and I want to have all my questions in and I want to schedule them to release on Monday, on Tuesday, and Wednesday, I can schedule those questions. If I just want to save them as drafts, I can save them as drafts, and I'll show you where they'll be. Save this as a draft, saving, and you'll see it right up here as a saved post. If I want to open that, then I just click on it, and I'll just click on Ask Question because I want it to go immediately. So there's my question. I can see that zero students have done this assignment because I have 0 students in my classroom. You also see that it created a topic section. So I would have all my geometry questions here, maybe all my fraction questions and assignments on another topic, and it just organizes so I can get to all of my information. Maybe when I'm reviewing at the end of the year, I can go to my multiplication section, or my students can go to the multiplication section of the Google Classroom and get information from just that section. Right? Now we're going to create an assignment. And the purpose behind Google Classroom is for students to be able to turn in work that they create digitally. So maybe I want my students to create a presentation on right angles using Google Slides or Google Docs or a video using Animoto. Whatever it is, there has to be a way that can turn it in simply. The most easiest way to turn it in is Google Classroom. And so maybe I'll say right angle hunt. And I simply want students to find 3 right angles in the school and take a picture of it. be sure to label the angles. So maybe I may do that. Again, I'm going to put this under geometry because I want it listed. Again, I don't have a due date, and I'll assign that, okay? Now my students can upload their right angle pictures. When they log into Google Classroom, they'll upload pictures of this assignment. If I click on that, I'll be able to see all of my students. It'll be organized by students who did not turn it in and students who have done this assignment. The great thing about Google Classroom is that you're able to see the work of students right here. So if I had a student named Brittany and she turned in her assignment, I would see all 3 of her pictures. Once I clicked on her name, I would see all 3 pictures without going anywhere else. I would just see her work right here. I can assign grades. I can assign it out of 4 points, and then I could grade students 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. You have the option of giving students comments within the classroom that they'll receive on their devices all through an assignment. And that's a unique function about assignments, is that you're able to do all of that grading with the grades in your assignments. What I like more about questions is with questions, again, your students are collaborating. They're able to see each other's work. You are the only person who can see an assignment. So this right angle hunt, all of the pictures that your students collected, they're for yours only. So you definitely aren't able to share that out unless you just bring that up on your whiteboard when you're in this, if you're just displaying this web page and you click on all of those items. But with the question, if you uploaded it as a question, then students could do the same thing. It just wouldn't be for a grade. So definitely 3 great features in Google Classroom, and I hope this tutorial has been a great resource for you. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.